Shalom. Okay, now, I didn't have time to make the full lesson. Okay? So I'm going to try to bring you the full lesson either Wednesday or Thursday. Okay? Now, I have other things that I'm going to do for you today, right? I just didn't have time to actually do this to complete study on this message. But this right here is going to be the beginning of the lesson that I'm going to bring you Wednesday and Thursday. Okay? So, once again, okay, this message is titled Lazarus. Alright? Now, this is only a half hour. Okay? I'm just going to bring this to you today. But when I bring the message on Wednesday or Thursday, it's probably going to be Thursday. Then I'm going to begin with this message. We'll begin with this first segment, and it's going to go into a longer message. Okay? So, why am I doing this, right? Because there are people, and I've heard various people not believe in the resurrection. Okay? I'm going to say this with respect because I'm not going to disrespect anybody. Okay? There are some members in the Nation of Islam that don't believe in the resurrection. Okay? There are some people in the Hebrew Israelite religion that don't believe in the resurrection. There are some people in the original Muslim faith that don't believe in the resurrection. Okay? We have many people of other nations that don't believe in the resurrection. Right? Now, I'm not going to concentrate with the people with the people of the other nations. But I would like to concentrate on you black folks, because this is a constant issue that we have. Disbelief. Now, I want to start, before I read this passage, I want to start with one of the things that trigger disbelief. Listen carefully. One of the things that trigger disbelief is attempting to be cool. You don't believe me. One of the reasons why many people don't believe in the virgin birth, and they don't believe in the resurrection, and they don't believe in these things, is because it's simply not thorough to believe in these things. That's why. See, it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, what your religion is, right? Or even your background for that nature. If something sounds foolishness, then it's going to sound then you're going to take it as foolishness. But it only sounds foolish because you can't wrap it around your head. That's why. So every time somebody can't wrap something around their head, it becomes foolishness into them. Okay? Now, I heard one of the brothers, okay, and respect to this brother, no disrespect, but I've heard one of the brothers from the Nation of Islam, he said, well, if the resurrection were true and everyone comes back at the same time, there would be no room on the planet. Okay? I'm not even going to address that. Okay? But what I am going to do is I'm just going to read a passage from the scriptures. The scriptures is absolutely true. There's nothing false in the scriptures. Now, white man may have came in and tweaked it a little bit. So people say, well, see, that's the problem, because people, the white man, they came in and they tweaked the Bible a little bit. So that's why I don't want to listen to the Bible. Let me explain something to you. Okay? The reason why your books aren't tweaked is because they're false. See, the truth must be dealt with. Don't you all understand this? The truth must be dealt with. Whenever there's a truth, there's somebody out there that wants to stop it for whatever reason. For their own selfish gain, Or if it's for Satan's purposes, he wants to bring as many people down to the lake with him as he possibly can. Now, Satan's job is to get you Negroes not to believe. That's the purpose of horror movies. The purpose of these poltergeists and demon movies, to desensitize you, to use a reverse psychology on you, so that you would think that these things are only movies and not a reality. The greatest trick that Satan ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. Okay? So, I got some other things for y'all. But let me just go ahead. Let's get into this. John 11:27. Now, let me repeat what I'm doing here. This message is titled Lazarus. Okay? Now, this lesson is much longer than this one segment I'm going to give you now. I just want to get you all ready. And I am going to bring this message. This is going to be a priority message. Because I know I say I'm going to bring this message and that message. And I procrastinate. Not that I procrastinate necessarily, but for a broke man, for a homeless man, I'm pretty busy. There's no broke, poor, homeless man as busy as me, I assure you. Right? And I know some rich people that take my busyness and put it to shame. But I don't know any homeless men that's more busy than me. Okay? So now, let's go to John 11. John 11. And we're going to read all the way down to verse 27. Okay? This is John 11. And we're going to read all the way down to verse 27. Once again, this is only the first segment to the message that I'm bringing to you on Thursday, titled Lazarus. Okay? Now, it's going to be a powerful message. It's going to be a really good message. Okay? John 11. Let's go. Read down to verse 27. And it says, Now a certain man was sick, named Lazarus, of Bethany, the town of Mary, and her sister Martha. It was that Mary which anointed Yahusha with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sisters sent unto him, saying, Master, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick. So, Mary's brother, not Miriam, Christ's biological mother, another Miriam. Her brother Lazarus was sick. So she sent out for Christ because Christ loved Lazarus. That was his main man. You know, him and Lazarus got along pretty well. So she sent out for she sent out for Christ and say, my brother, the man who you're cool with, that's your ace, he's sick. Okay, Christ wasn't there. Okay. When Yahusha heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of Elohim, but for the esteem of Elohim. Now, I need you all to remember that. Please. This sickness is not unto death. These are the key words here. Listen. But for the esteem of Elohim. For the esteem of Elohim. There's a reason why I want to use the word Elohim here and not God. It says God, but wherever you see God, you should put Elohim. Well, some places Yahuwah, but Yahuwah is Elohim. But I don't want to complicate things. Okay. Now, pay attention. I'm gonna read that again. Christ got the word. He's not there. He got the word. Christ, in other words, he's probably sitting somewhere chilling. He says, that sickness is not unto death, but for the glory or the esteem. I prefer to use the word esteem. But for the esteem of Elohim, that the Son of God, that the Son of Elohim might be esteemed thereby. Ooh. Now, I know you're probably like, well, what's he so hype about? I understand. Many of you have no idea why I'm so hype right now. And I understand that. Many of you who are novice in religion, you completely oblivious, right? But some of you who are skilled understand why I'm feeling this way, right? Okay? Now, I'm going to read it again, but I'm not going to explain that. I'm going to keep going because it's going to come back. It's going to come full circle. So Christ gets the word. He's out somewhere. He gets the word. Lazarus is sick, and he's dying. So Christ gets the word, and he says, hey, listen, in other words, I'm going to paraphrase it. He says, well, that sickness is not so that he can remain dead. Okay, it's pretty much for the esteem of the Father, or for the esteem of Elohim. That the Son of Elohim, now he's talking about himself. Or was he talking about himself at first? But he says that the Son of Elohim might be esteemed thereby also. Thereby means also. So I'm not worried about that. Let him die, right? Because his death is only really so Elohim. I don't want to say God. You'll see why. Elohim can be glorified, and then so I can be glorified too. But the man is dying, though, Christ. Okay? Now, Yahusha loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So see, Christ loved these people. These people, he had compassion for these people. These people were good people, Christ, right? They the women washed his feet with their hair, and Lazarus was his drinking buddy. Him and Lazarus sit down at the table and pour some. Now, see, I don't drink anymore, right? But I got to tell you something, right? If I had that wine they had back then, see, that wine back then, that was real wine. See, this stuff we got now, see, shatter your bones, break your bones up, make you feeble. This wine that we got now is very detrimental to your body. Now, if you spend money and you purchase upper echelon wine, that wine is sealed very, it doesn't have these chemicals in it, preservative chemicals in it that these wines, these cheaper wines have. You spend a couple dollars now, okay, you might be all right, but for the most part, just going to a bar, those wines, even the Merlot, it's like, you're not spending a couple dollars, you're really not getting any good wine. So you got to be careful with all of these liquors today. Now, then he's going to say, when he had heard, therefore, so he loved Martha and his sister and Lazarus. When he had heard, therefore, that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. So Christ got the word that Lazarus was sick on his deathbed and dying. He didn't hop up and say, my man Lazarus. Like, if that was my man Taya something, or, one of the brothers I grew up with, or my man Tom, one of the brothers I grew up with, or somebody like that, right? If it wasn't, I get that word, hey, look, man, your boss Sabata, or, somebody that I care about, or even worse, if it's somebody like my wife or my mother, I'm going to hop up right away and go running, right? Right? Why? Because whatever type of help they need right then, I need to get over there as quick as possible if there's anything I can do, right? Christ and in other words, let him die. I'm sitting here. He probably was drinking wine wherever he was at. And he stayed there for the 2 more days after he got the news. So it was no rush, no big deal. Okay. Then he's going to go and he's going to say, and they're not. Oh, excuse me. Then he's going to say, when he had heard, therefore, okay, yeah. So he stayed 2 more days. Then after that saith he to his disciples, let us go into Judea again. His disciples say unto him, Master, the Jews of late sought to stone thee, and goest thither again? Yahusha answered, they wanted to kill him over there where he wanted to go, and he was just going to go there again. And so his disciples tried to say, hey, look, they tried to take you out over there, Christ. You want to head back that way? So Yahusha answered, are there not 12 hours in a day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of his work. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him. Okay, we're not going to express that right now. These things said he, and after that he saith unto them, our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of his sleep. Now, when he said, our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I will go that I will, he was talking about him being dead. He's not talking about him literally sleeping. He's talking about Lazarus is dead and gone now. He's done. He's rocked. Whatever illness he had, Lazarus is out of here. Christ knew that he died. Why? Because he's Christ. Okay? So he knew that Lazarus had died. So then he says, let me go that I may awaken him out of his sleep. Then saith his disciples, Master, if he sleep, he shall do well. Howbeit Yahusha spake of his death, but they thought that he had spoken of taking a rest and sleep. So the disciples thought that he was just talking about he's actually sleeping, but Christ knew he died. He was talking about he was dead. Then said Yahusha unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, to the intent ye may believe. Nevertheless, let us go unto him. Then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto his fellow disciples, let us go, that we may die with him. Then when Yahusha came, he found that he had lain in the grave 4 days already, Lazarus has been dead for 4 days already. Okay? This is for all you people out there that don't believe in the resurrection. Listen, I'm going to tell you all something right now. If you don't believe in the resurrection, that's okay. I'm not here to compel you to believe. I don't give a damn whether you believe or not. I'm doing this. It's getting to the point where, yeah, I love my people, but you are such a wicked people. A people that believe not in your Elohim. A people that go every which way but the right way. Whether it be for money, whether it be for fame, glory, whether it be for attention, whatever your foolish reasons. This is a foolish people. And you become irate when I tell the truth. So many of you don't believe that God can raise people from the dead. Well, if your God can't raise the dead, then what purpose is having belief in him? Many of you all out there believe in men. I would bet the man that you all look up to, you would have more faith that he can raise the dead than the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is a silly people. You are a silly people. Your gods have not spoken to you yet. None of them. So when Christ arrived, Lazarus had been dead for 4 days, basically. Now, Bethany was nigh unto Jerusalem, about 15 furlongs off. And many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their mother. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Yahusha was coming, went and met him, but Mary sat still in the house. Then said Martha unto Yahusha, Master, if thou hadst been here, my brother would have not died. So she was feeling some type of way. She was saying, but see, that's faith. That's faith. She's saying, if you would have been here, it's half faith. It's not complete faith. The Roman soldier had more faith than our sister Martha. Now, respect to our sister Martha. Okay? But that white Roman soldier had more faith than her. Cyrus the king of the Old Testament had more faith than her. She had faith because she said she had faith. She wasn't faithless. She said, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But she didn't have complete faith because she put Yahusha in a box. She limited his power. So she ran out to him and said, see, in other words, he's dead now. He's gone. If you had been here, he wouldn't have never died. So she believed enough that within his presence, that he could, in other words, she said that because she know that Christ can heal. He can heal. So, in other words, she's saying if you were here, you could have healed him. And he wouldn't have never died. But then she said, but I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, Elohim, whatsoever thou wilt ask of Elohim, Elohim will give it to thee. This is what she said. Yahusha saith unto her, thy brother shall rise again. Martha saith unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Christ said that whoever believeth in me, I will raise them at the last day. Christ said that I will raise them at the last day. Not Elohim, or not my Father, but me. That's something very bold to say. If I walked around in Philadelphia telling these niggas out here that I am the resurrection, and your family member, all these murders that's going on in Philadelphia, and I tell these niggas that I'm going to raise their people on the last day, I won't make it home. Niggas don't want to hear that. There's a lot of pain going on in this city. I might as well write my will if I plan on going out amongst these streets saying anything of that nature. Why? Because everyone would know that that's foolishness. Now, Martha, however, believed in the resurrection. The resurrection, which all of you niggas don't believe in. A lot of you atheists, Hebrew Israelites, Muslims, and those in the nation of Islam, you don't believe in it. So, and many of you social media personalities as well, you don't believe in it. Many of you rappers and singers, you don't believe in these things because it's foolishness. And if you were to talk about them, people would think you're crazy, like everyone thinks I'm crazy, thinks I have mental health issues. But it is you all who are dysfunctional, and you're going to understand that. And that's another message that I got. You're saying, well, you got all these messages coming, but you hardly speak. I speak when I say I'm going to speak, on Wednesdays and Sundays. If I decide to speed things up, which I will, it's going to be for a reason. But that's not what this conversation is about, okay? So, she said, I know he's going to raise up at the resurrection. In other words, the return of Christ. When you return, the day of the resurrection, when you're going to raise everybody back to life, both the good and the bad. I understand that. Okay. Christ said to her, Martha, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? She said unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, the Son of Elohim, which should come into the world. Okay? So, she knew that he was Elohim in the flesh. Yahuwah in the flesh. Why? Because if you all remember, when you read from the New Testament, there was no New Testament written during these times. It was only the Old Testament. So just like the Roman soldier knew who Christ was based on the Old Testament, so did all of these believers. Just like myself. I am a believer because I believe the Old Testament. But I have an advantage, and many of you Negroes today, you have an advantage. You don't only have the Old Testament, but you have the Apocrypha and you have the New Testament. And you Negroes are still squabbling around in your foolishness. Now, I want y'all to remember something. Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. Now you can go ahead and read the rest of the chapter. It doesn't matter, because that's not going to spoil the lesson that's coming on Thursday. The lesson that's coming on Thursday is going to be a very good message. Now, I know Satan is going to attempt to thwart that message, to minimize that message. Many folk that despise me are going to attempt to show their ass probably Wednesday night or Thursday morning. My slanderers will talk more and more and more. But at the end of the day, the message will drop, thus saith Yahuwah. He's the only person that's going to stop that message. This message is titled Lazarus. Okay? Lazarus. Many of you Negroes are going to die in your unbelief.